Good morning, I'm Frank Powers, and this is Lifestyle Tucson, the program where I speak to our neighbors, the people behind the scenes of our amazing organizations that are 501c3 nonprofits. Our friends are informing you how they serve our community, and they're here to give you updates on future projects. Let's make some old friends today. Time is a funny thing because I have a long memory and always like to appreciate and support any guest that comes on Lifestyle Tucson long after they do. But sometimes that means 2 whole years have gone by and you keep rerunning the same evergreen episode you have on file because it was just so good. Well, it's time to get caught up and get to work with GROUNDWORKS. GROUNDWORKS is a 501c3 nonprofit, youth-driven community arts space here in Tucson. They're a team of artists, musicians, and educators with the shared goal of developing creativity and talent in Tucson's youth arts scene with affordable all-ages events for youth to come interact with art, music, and my favorite thing, zines. You can pop into one of their many events located at 2919 East Grant Road here in Tucson, or catch them all around the community connecting with local artistic events and visiting their venue page over at groundworkstucson.com for the full calendar of events. Because today, I'm fortunate enough to speak with Logan Green, director and founder of GROUNDWORKS. Logan, welcome back to Lifestyle Tucson.
Thank you so much for having me. I am stoked to be back.
Heck yeah. Can you believe it? It's been a couple of years, but it is because your episode might be the one I've rerun the most, because it is just a really good evergreen episode that we could talk about all the time, because you're always doing fun events. You're always doing things for the community, and you're always up to a lot of things, especially camp. So you got your big camp coming up. We're going to get into that later. It's their biggest fundraiser of the year, so we'll talk all about it. But why don't you give everybody like the 101 of what GROUNDWORKS is all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So GROUNDWORKS is a nonprofit dedicated to promoting the youth-driven music and arts community here in Tucson. For us, that means working with 14 to 24-year-olds, giving them a place for artistic expression and to experience the arts. They are the performers there, but they're also the ones behind the scenes running the sound, running the box office. So it is entirely youth-driven in that way. And we're doing events every week, constantly. Every Friday, Saturday, we have concerts. During the week, we have art events. And then it's just all sorts of other things, depending on what youth want to be doing. That's
amazing. And it says right there, GROUNDWORKS shows are always all ages. So it's good for everybody there. Getting that opportunity to everybody, especially young folks, because that's when, our brains are extra squishy and we're ready to absorb all the fun stuff that might take us on the path for where we're going to go as we grow up. And I do love how much you have going on there with the culture and the arts surrounding music, surrounding creativity, and a lot of DIY. I think DIY is kind of the big thing with GROUNDWORKS.
Yeah, that's definitely some of my background is in music and DIY culture and things like that. And for us, it's putting those youth voices forward so that they are the ones doing it. It's not a lot, and this is tough for some of our adult volunteers who come. It's not a lot of us doing it for them. It's more of them doing it themselves and us providing the support and resources they need to create whatever it is they're trying to create.
That's awesome. Well, what is some of your background? Why don't you tell some of the folks?
Yeah, I grew up here in Tucson. I'm a musician and a teacher. I've taught guitar at different high schools around town, and I do lessons. But I've also been a touring musician for the last 20 years as well. So I've played in 49 states. I got to get to Alaska.
I was going to say, is it
50th.
Alaska?
Yeah, it is. It is the toughest one for me to get to. But so my background, I've seen lots of different types of ways that different cities approach arts and music, and around the world too. So this is me bringing a lot of those ideas and kind of cherry picking the best of that will work for Tucson.
How unique. That's very fascinating. And again, that's that experience. Can't teach that in a school. Going out in the world, getting to almost all the states, 49 out of 50 states, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so, all on a DIY basis. And I love to see when our youth are like putting themselves out there in that same way, when they like book their own tour. I'm like, yes, that's awesome.
You know what it is? It's a thing. You've heard the term, it's keeping up with the Johnsons. When your neighbor buys a boat, all of a sudden it unlocks in you maybe I could buy a boat. That's like the old expression, but it's the same thing when it comes to motivation and ability to succeed, where it's like, it's easy to go on tour. I did it, and telling a kid, yeah, I've been to 49 states. I'm sure their eyes just go wide and they're like, wait, what? Because that's incredible. I'm blown away by that fact. And right here in Tucson is where you're headquartered, and that's a gift for us all, because Tucson really does have such unique people and such creative folks here. And the best part is that we really do like to build a lot for everybody to kind of join the fun and join the party and get in with us, right?
Yeah, and you have to do it. You have to put yourself out there in that way. And so hopefully what we're doing at GROUNDWORKS creates that pathway for young people to realize they can do it themselves.
Yeah. Unlocking permission is what I've found is like one of the things. If you think about the way we've all grown up, we're always asking permission.
Yeah.
Kind of unlocking that permission in anyone of any age is really important because sometimes that's all they need. They need someone that they believe in to tell them, oh, you can do it.
Yeah.
And here's why I can do it. I did it. And seeing's believing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's opening an imaginary gate.
Yes.
Like it wasn't really there
Yes.
to begin with, but if you have opened it, now other people can go through it.
That's amazing. All right, well, let's open some gates right now and go through some of the fun events that you got going on because you do have a lot of great shows. And I'm looking at the calendar over at groundworkstucson.com right under events. And there's a full calendar. They post a calendar every month. And it looks like that coming on up, you got a lot of great shows. Even tonight, it's just a movie. Kingpin, bowling, that's the best. So you've got fun movies happening as well. That's at 4 p.m. tonight. So movie matinee down there. And then a lot of fun shows. The new volunteer orientation is going to be Wednesday on the 22nd. It's just an hour from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. and it's free. How can people start volunteering and getting involved?
Yeah, if you want to just come to that orientation, you can just pop in, but there is a form on our website to get going. Volunteers often will be helping us run our box office or learning sound, or they join one of our working teams that help create the rest of the space. So if you want to get involved in the art gallery or in marketing or some other element of the space, it's all volunteer run outside of just a couple staff who do the administrative stuff.
Wow. Or speaking of marketing, well, let me ask you about that because you could follow them over at GroundWorks Tucson on Instagram. I think your Instagram's great. I think your Instagram's excellent, really keeping people up to date and up to speed on what's going on, even more than a website because it's getting right in your feed. So make sure you follow them over on Instagram and like them over on Facebook as well because that's how we're going to stay informed with an organization that's doing so much, so many shows, so many of them live as well. So really get with it. What is the Let's Talk About It Teen Conference?
So this is an event put on by the Pima County Health Department that is something that is a cool collaboration between GROUNDWORKS and the health department around promoting pro-mental health, pro-social outcomes for young people. This is specifically focused at teenagers, though if other people wanted to be involved, you can reach out to GROUNDWORKS that way. But we have music and workshops and a bunch of events going on. Check out the Pima County Health Department website or our website for the sign-in and registration info for that event. But this is free for teens to come and get involved and have a conference to talk about, these type of situations that they may find themselves in.
There you go. That's on the 25th from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. Again, free and fun. So go get the details over at groundworkstucson.com to keep up on everything. Do you have a newsletter?
We do have a newsletter. Yeah, you can sign up on our website, and we try to get them out, twice a month as best we can. So trust me, you won't be inundated with too many emails signing up for our newsletter. You'll get just what you need when you need it.
That's the spirit. I find a lot of people do like newsletters. Like I'm old-fashioned where I don't really, email, no. But a lot of people really do like this stuff. And when it's coming from a great organization like yours, it's really important to keep up to date and up to speed on stuff. And I'm sure you have a great newsletter. And word of mouth is the best way to advertise. So tell a friend about GROUNDWORKS because it's so important because they're doing a lot of great stuff. Let me ask you this now. What do you think is one of the things facing kids today that's like more of a modern problem?
I think there's a lot with social media and around the way teens interact in public. I can remember going to concerts and it being a little bit more of a freeing, liberating experience for a lot of people than it is today. And I think a lot of that has to do with at any moment you can be filmed for just being a normal person or doing something like dancing. And they've seen how by doing normal activities, you can still be bullied online. And they've grown up with that in a way that I think people my age or older have not. And so I think that stifles a lot of the way they interact with each other in public and in this kind of environment. And we're really proud of ourselves at GROUNDWORKS to be a pro-social space where they can come and feel that they can let loose a little bit more and have that kind of freedom to not have to worry about that stuff. But it's still there. It still permeates. So I think that's like a really specific problem that young people have to face today.
Yeah, if people haven't heard, kids don't dance anymore. They're very afraid to be seen and captured on video. I mean, I was at a wedding a couple years ago. I get it, okay? People showed me that video. But you know what? I was having fun. And that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be about having fun, not worrying about what we look like when we're having fun or what someone else thinks about the fun we're having. Because you know what? Who cares? We're supposed to be able to not worry about other people's judgment, because the world's going to have bullies in it, whether it's a school bully or whether it is the insurance company or your boss. You got to be able to deal with some of these things and just getting together in a community that's going to support you when someone's going to throw some negativity your way. That's one of these things we got to build that muscle up for these kids. And even our young adults, they just don't know how to feel when it comes to social media and some of the stuff. It is very interesting.
Yeah, and so we put a lot of effort into trying to make sure that people feel welcome and, more importantly, empowered when they're at our space. So that's why everything is youth-driven. We actually kind of have a different problem in that young people come and feel a lot of autonomy at our space. And so we never actually meet their parents. Oftentimes their parents drop them off and they're like, Mom, go home, because they want to feel like this is their space. It's an awesome thing to have, but we're a nonprofit and we think a lot of their parents may want to donate and we don't get to talk to them. So it's kind of an interesting problem that we have that is a great problem because we are pursuing our mission in the best way that way. But we are also a nonprofit looking for funding.
There you go. So you can donate your time by volunteering, but also donate some money. That's how things work around anywhere, especially here in Tucson. We've got the most nonprofits per capita, folks. So you got to take care of the ones that you love the most. And Groundworks should be one of those ones. Go over to groundworkstucson.com to get all the details on how you can support. There's a donate button right in the top right. Oh, and another way to support is you do have a store, correct? Is there a store up here somewhere or no?
Yeah, we have different merch and things like that we've made. And if people want to wear their support, they're absolutely welcome to do that.
And a lot of other things. There's the info tab right there as well to get the newsletter. There's a blog and all the details on how to contact them, because it is so important to get together and get that word out, especially your kids, but also get the word out because you do need to support these nonprofits in town that are really supporting your families and supporting your kids. Like I say, you don't want a bunch of latchkey kids running around the community, right? More graffiti, more crime, breaking windows. No, you got to get them somewhere so they know they can pick up a guitar, because you don't want the fact that they don't own a guitar to be the barrier. You want to be giving them all these instruments and giving them access to all this technology and access to, again, your story and the belief that they can achieve something. When you tell me that you do have these parents just dropping their kids off like it's a free babysitter, we got to maybe throw an event to have a parent night, I think, to get them a little more involved so they see what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can definitely bridge that gap a little bit. But at the same time, we want the youth there to want to be there.
Yeah.
We really want them to feel like it's their space and not just a teen center that their parents registered them for or something like that. Instead, it's really about what they want to be working on, and they're the driving force.
Yeah, well, it's important. I remember being a teenager. That's what it's all about. Like, you really do want ownership of what it is, and that can be a skate park. It can be a parking lot at 7-Eleven, or it can be a great organization like yours or like Big Brothers Big Sisters and the Boys and Girls Clubs and these things that really get people together, because that's what we do need. We need that togetherness, because, yeah, that social media has really warped a lot of us. For a couple of generations now it's been around.
Yeah, it's important for us to build that in-person community, especially for young people.
Yeah, more than ever. So my favorite is I saw a funny reel from a band, and she's touring. And now you see more and more is AI doing the music and AI doing the art, right? And she going, oh no, AI stealing guitars. Oh no, I guess you got to come to real life. Guess you got to come to shows. Guess you got to come make friends. Yes, come to real life. Real life is at Groundworks, okay? So there's so many things happening, but one of the biggest things happening and one of the biggest fundraisers and a big party is going to be Space Camp at Groundworks. It's Camp Groundworks 2026. Tell me all about what's happening August 29th and 30th from 2 p.m. till 10 p.m.
Yeah, so we do this annual event every year, and it started 100% out of necessity during the pandemic shutdowns. But it is our annual fundraiser, telethon, live stream, auction, music fest, art gallery, everything that we do all in one weekend. So if you don't know anything about Groundworks, but you want to experience the entirety of a year that we do in one weekend, this is the time to do it. We're going to have all the youth bands that we highlight throughout the year, a bunch of new bands, a bunch of bands we've been working with for a long time. We're going to have a dozen artists or so in our art gallery creating a space-themed, gallery event and exhibition. And then we're going to have the full weekend of just kind of zany antics, costume contests, all sorts of fun stuff that we're doing. We'll create new merch for that. We'll have a live or an online auction going on. We'll have raffles. We'll have lots of ways people can support and donate. And we're always looking for sponsors for the event as well. So we've got a number of sponsors right now, but we're looking for a few more to round out the fundraising part of it and for them to get the word out to a creative community.
That's a big, big deal. And what is your fundraising goal at this event?
Yeah, so we were trying to raise $25,000 throughout the weekend. And when we started, we were like, maybe we'll raise $10,000. Let's just put that number out there. And we did. So every year we've raised a little bit more. Last year we raised $21,000. And so this year we're pushing to break 25.
There you go. That is the spirit. That makes my whole day. Did you see my eyes bug out of my head when you said telethon? All right. I'm a sucker for this. And as you're talking, I'm like, let me check my calendar because I'm traveling a lot in August, but I'm here that weekend. So I'll be there that weekend. The launch party actually starts on the 28th at 6 p.m. There's a small little launch party that night, and then it goes into that full weekend of events, the 29th and the 30th. That is going to be amazing. So go get all the details over at groundworkstucson.com. And then there's a tab there that talks about Camp Groundworks. And again, space camp being the theme of it.
Yeah, this was one. We change the theme every year. Last year was like a Renaissance Fair theme camp. And it's not a literal summer camp. It is more the spirit of a summer camp. Yeah. And so this year we were like space camp. That's a good one. So really excited. I think the youth have really taken on a lot of the alien space motifs in the way that they're talking about it and promoting it and coming up with ideas.
Well, it's a fun theme when you do things like that because it really does open up to a lot of like not just aliens, but I like being a space cowboy myself. So that's like fun things to do because space has a lot of fun themes that you can do so much when it comes to creativity. Whether you're being aliens, any excuse to paint my skin is always good. I've done that. And even I have a character where I have a space suit, but not like an astronaut suit, like a 3-piece suit, but it's all the galaxy. And then I'll shave my head and paint my whole head like the universe, and it's the best.
I love that. I love that. And with space, too, there's a lot of DIY costume ideas because you get to pick what an alien is.
Yes, that's true, right? That's amazing. Oh, so many things happening. All right. Well, now I want to talk about maybe some memories or some other important things that have happened since you've opened the space because you've been doing it a good long time now. But, I mean, this is only, the 6th fundraiser it looks like? That's impressive. When we met, it was that your organization was still so young and recovering in a way from COVID, which just set everybody back. You know, you had moved into the space on grant in 2021, right? So now it's been like 5 years there. So even though it's your 6th anniversary, like, how do you feel that now you've really been doing it? You're in it now.
Yeah, we started in 2019 with like all the, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed of thinking that we'll just be able to open a space and have a lot of people pack into a small space to see a concert. And then 2020 happened and our April 3rd, 2020 grand opening totally shuttered. Yeah. So it was a lot of just figuring things out for the first 3, maybe even 4 years of trying to exist as a nonprofit in like an ever-changing world. And since 2022, 2023, we really have started to find our footing. And the last couple years, we've really been on a path of growth and feeling strong that we've made some really good roots in the community, especially for young people. Like new young people find out about us. I tell people all the time, like if you know a creative outsider, weirdo kid, you don't have to tell them about us. They already know. Mm-hmm. And it's really trying to branch out to lots of different kinds of communities out there as our path forward.
Yeah, well, it's important to have places like this because I interviewed a lot of nonprofits and there's not one like this one. There's not many like this.
There's very few around the country and even around the world. There's this type of thing is pretty rare.
Yeah. We used to have Scrappies cause it's kind of like a little like that where I remember the youth used to go to that a lot.
Yeah, that's where I grew up is going to Scrappies shows and experiencing that. And it's definitely a lot of inspiration from that kind of venue, but it's also a whole different thing because the world that we live in now, Scrappies was now 20 years ago, right? Is kind of when it was kind of going, and it's been a totally different world now. So you got to kind of change with the times.
Yeah, you do. And it's nice to, in a way, grow up. I also used to hang out 36 Chambers. I mean, like, That's the thing is that we used to have a lot of great little DIY punk shows and things like that. But to actually be like, all right, now let's do it, turn it into a nonprofit and really create something that is a working organization and, also not dangerous. Because also some stuff used to go down at Scrappies, So that's the thing about what this is that makes it just very unique and something that just any musician in town should want to support. Any band here that's doing anything or is even grown up and is older now, like go help the youth, go get involved with Groundworks.
Yeah, and it's truly an all ages space. So we invite everybody, if any type of performer, any type of music, any type of background to the space. We prioritize youth because that's our mission, but we love to mix it up and have bills with lots of different kinds of people on the bill.
Well, I even mean some of those people teaching. Yeah, I've been in like how you were literally talking about, I've traveled the world, I've toured in a band. I can unlock this for you because it's nothing that is as daunting as you think. When you meet a local band, you'll be like, no, you could do it. And it's going to blow their mind. And when they meet other bands in town that just say the same thing of like, oh, here's how you do it. And then explain to them how you do all that. That's really something that's just so important because there's a wisdom in the scene.
Yeah.
That you're not going to find in school.
Yeah, and we really are trying to encourage our youth to branch out to not even just, obviously, if they want to travel the world, I think that's awesome. But if they even want to just get out there in Tucson and play other places other than Groundworks, we're encouraging that. Yeah,
local tours as well. Even my friends, we would do local tours. We just get to do stuff in Bisbee. I mean, that's fun. Like that's the point. But it's so hard to unlock sometimes what you feel like is like a level up.
Yeah.
And hanging around guys like you and gals down there running this whole thing and all these people, a mentor can be some of the most important things for the exact reason of why those kids are saying, beat it, mom, beat it, dad, and you never met them. But they're not shooing you away. They introduce you to people because you're a mentor. You're someone they believe in, which is why the things that you say can have an effect on them. And that is a great power to have and to share that and to use that for such good here for the creative kids in Tucson and the misfits, like you're saying. That's really important, because Tucson is a creative community and it can make you wander. Where do I go with this creativity? Well, we found it and it's called Groundworks. It's a great place. Just constantly, I see it all the time. I share it all the time. And it's just something I believe in. And certainly something that even when I was growing up, needed to find a group like that. I didn't really find it till I got to art school, where you find like, oh, here's a bunch of nerds that are like me,
Yeah, we hear adults say that all the time, that they wish they had something like this when they were a kid. And we want to encourage those adults to come and support, donate, try to make sure it is around for the next generation of youth.
So I do often ask, so we've done that, we've asked to donate, obviously we've covered a lot, but what are the goals going forward to 2027 now, since we do have some, it's been a minute. I want you back here every year, if not maybe twice a year, because you do a lot. But what are your goals for what's next?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things we're working on right now in terms of just what is the big picture stuff. So there's a lot of nonprofit growth, administrative growth that we're building, even including looking into potentially new buildings and things like that. Because our lease is up next year. We think we're going to renew, but we are open to the idea of moving in somewhere else and kind of establishing something in a different building. So there's some big picture stuff like that. But a lot of it has to do with this year we've really been able to turn our volunteer team into what we're calling Groundworks members. And those are primarily youth who are the ones leading the charge. And we're seeing more and more of them taking the leadership roles around the space. And we're really, really trying to foster that for 2027, where you come in and who's in charge, and it's these teens and young adults who are they've been there, they know what's up, they're mentoring others now who are younger than them, and they're getting the support from the adult facilitators who are managing the space.
Excellent. What's a lesson you've learned at Groundworks from perhaps some of the kids?
Oh, yeah. So with Groundworks, a lot of it has to do with getting youth out of their shell. And sometimes it's a matter of, actively encouraging them. Like sometimes we just put somebody on a concert and they're like, oh, okay, I guess I'm doing this now. And we're like, yeah. And then they love it and they really run with it from there. But some of it is on the internal side and what we do as an adult or as a mentor or just somebody, involved in the space. And for me, it's a matter of, I've learned that just my being as consistent as I can is so such a good foundation for youth to kind of build off of. If they see an adult or a mentor who can stay consistent in lots of different situations. And that's something that I always have to work on, right? I can be really inconsistent. A lot of people can. But if I can just show up for them all the time, every day, I think that they respond to that, and then they can be their own person and build off of that a lot more. You can show emotion, but you can't really go to these extremes that you might want to. You might have this want to yell or you might want to get into yourself and get sad, or there's all sorts of emotions that we can find ourselves in. And I think just if we can stay in kind of a consistent area, it really allows them to know where those limits are and where those extremes are for them.
That's a big deal as an educator and as a mentor as well, is that, yes, you're there, you're being there. You're like a rock, and that's how you got to be, so that they can crash against you. And that's really important to be able to do. And then you're taking on a lot when you're talking about this. And being consistent, but being there for them, I'm sure is probably the biggest thing you can do. Because we do hear that a lot about how consistency is key in a lot of things. And even for us in general, when it's just about don't break the chain when you're trying to exercise every day, or take on a new hobby, or write that book. Don't break the chain. So consistency is key for a lot of humans. Being there for them, for their emotions, is a big, big deal. That's probably one. Can I just clap? I mean, honestly. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've worked as an educator and, working with youth now. I definitely feel that that's something that is super helpful. It's something that I think if we look back at positive figures in our life, that's a feature that they had as well. As they were consistent every interaction we had with them.
Yeah, calm, cool, and collected, because this way it lets the kid be like a little frazzled, and then you stay calm, cool, and collected. And that also just comes with the experience of, you know what? I was that frazzled kid once, and I know that he can be calm, cool, and collected right now because we'll solve this. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just a part of growing up. So if you want to do some growing up and have a good time doing it, why don't you head on down to GROUNDWORKS over at 2919 East Grant Road here in Tucson. Go follow them over on Instagram and Facebook at GROUNDWORKS Tucson, because today we made friends with Logan Green, director and founder of GROUNDWORKS, the all-ages venue and nonprofit community art space dedicated to developing creativity and talent in Tucson's youth art scene. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Always a pleasure.
This was Lifestyle Tucson. Bing bong bing, time for a recap. I really love talking to Logan because GROUNDWORKS is great. So I do the social media for Art State, Arizona, so I'm always sharing their posts and their events. That's what I mean by I share it a lot. I don't just mean on my thing. I really get to promote this great organization that's doing so much for the youth in town. And you should really help them out if you can. Remember, that's what I do nonstop around here, is just tell you that this is the nonprofit you have to support. We all have to pick a couple because there's so many great ones here in Tucson, and GROUNDWORKS is helping out so many kids because they really need it growing up these days. We heard about some of these modern problems, and I know there's more modern problems than we can even tackle. So doing it together as a community is the way to do it. So support them if you can and when you can, and go find them over at GroundWorksTucson.com, as well as at GroundWorks Tucson on Instagram, and on Facebook, same thing, it's at GroundWorks Tucson. They're at 2919 East Grant Road here in Tucson, Arizona, and we're lucky to have them. Don't forget, Camp GROUNDWORKS, Space Camp GROUNDWORKS, is coming up the final weekend of August, 29th and 30th, with that preview night on the 28th. That is their biggest fundraiser. It sounds like it's going to be a blast. A blast off, in fact. I know I'm going to get involved, so maybe you should as well. Let's all have fun together at GROUNDWORKS. So I want to thank our old friends at GROUNDWORKS for joining me today. You've been listening to Lifestyle Tucson. If you're a nonprofit that would like to be on the show, email lifestyletucson@gmail.com. For more information about this program or to listen to something you may have missed, go to the Sunday Mornings page on klpx.com, kfma.com, mixfm.com, or espntucson.com. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and Audible, or wherever fine podcasts are working. Follow on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Lifestyle Tucson, because I'm your BFF, your best Frank forever, Frank Powers. And toot toot Tucson, I love you the most.